Hello everyone, welcome to English 215 course for Unified Track. Today's lesson is Unit 9, Time Management. Before starting the lesson, you need the following: your English 215 Business Goals 3 coursebook, your English notebook, your stationery like pencil, pen, eraser, or whatever you need, and a dictionary. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to, number 1, identify collocations related to managing time. So we will learn different words that we can use to describe the time. Number 2, locate information in a text. So we will learn how to get information from a reading text. Number 3, use phrasal verbs in a sentence. So we will learn different phrasal verbs that we can use in describing time management. Now let's start about thinking about 2 questions. Number 1, how do you plan your time for your work or studies? Number 2, do you think you manage your time well? Why not? I'll give you 2 minutes to write down your answer, and then we'll discuss it later. All right, so let's see at some suggested answers. Number 1, how do you plan your time for your work or studies? The possible answer is, I plan my time by organizing a schedule to outline specific time for studying, social engagements, and other activities. So I can mention that I use a specific organizer to write the time that I need to do my daily tasks. Number 2, do you think you manage your time well? Why not? A possible answer is, yes, I think I manage my time well because I achieve most of my scheduled goals. Sometimes it is challenging, but I need the determination and the self-discipline to complete all the work. So when you're answering these types of questions, make sure that you mention the reason and support your answers. So yes, I manage my time because I achieve most of my aims and most of my goals. Do you know the meaning of these words? Deadline, up to date. Well, look them up in the dictionary and write the definition in your notebook. I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. So let's discuss the definition of each of these words. Deadline. Deadline means the latest time or date something like reports, projects, or assignments should be completed or submitted. So when a teacher asks you to submit a report, then you are supposed to give it to her on that specific date and time. And that is what we mean by deadline. As for up to date, it means the most recent or the newest. So if you are up to date, then it means that you are familiar or you know the most recent news or what's happening in the world. This takes us to the word collocations. Have you ever heard of the word collocations? Well, collocations means a group of words that often go together. And now we're going to do this exercise. We have to match the verbs from 1 to 6 to the words from A to F to create collocations. And pay attention that some words go with more than one word. Now I'll give you 3 minutes to do this exercise, and then we'll discuss the answers together. Let's look at the model answer and check your answers. Number 1, make a list. So when you make a list, for example, before you go to the supermarket, you make a shopping list in order to know what you want to buy. So this is what we mean by the collocation make a list. Number 2, we use keep with keep up to date, keep a list, and keep on time. If you keep up to date, then it means that you keep with the latest information or the recent information that is happening around you or in the world. Or you can keep a list. So for example, as a student, you can keep a list of the things that you need to study for the day. Or keep on time. If you keep on time, then it means that you stick to the time that is given to you. Number 3, we use meet, miss, set with a deadline. So if you meet a deadline, it means when a teacher gives you a report and she asks you to submit that report on a specific date and you submit it on that date, then it means that you meet a deadline. So you submit it on time. If you miss a deadline, then you submit the report after the date that the teacher gave you. As for setting a deadline, then the teacher sets a deadline, which means she gives you the specific time and the date for you to give her the report and submit it to her. Number 4, we use run with run behind schedule or run on time. If you are running behind schedule, it means that you are lagging behind. So you're not doing it on time, you still have a lot of tasks to do. As for run on time, then you stick to the time that is given to you, which is the specific time you're supposed to do it. Number 5, put in extra time. So as students, if you put in extra time, then it means you put the extra effort or the extra hours into studying. Number 6, keep something up to date. So for example, if you keep your phone up to date, then it means that you update it to the latest version from time to time. Now let's check your understanding of these words and collocations that we use in describing time management. Read these sentences and fill in the gaps with the appropriate words or phrases. There is one extra word or phrase. I will give you 3 minutes to do this exercise. All right, let's check your answers now. So number 1, there is no need for you to access the database yourself. Susan can make the list you want. So Susan can make the list that you want in order for you to access the database. Number 2, if you don't keep the database up to date, we might lose track of who you have visited. So if you don't keep it to the latest version, then you might not be able to keep up of who you have visited. Number 3, you are using your time more effectively and you are more likely to meet your deadline. So you are more likely to submit your tasks on time. Ali, a sales representative, is describing his plans for the next 2 years to Sarah, his manager. Read their conversation and then answer the questions below. So all these statements are false. Correct them. I will give you 5 minutes to read and correct the false statements. Let's check your answers. Number 1. Ali's goal is to find new customers. The correction is Ali's goal is not to find new customers, but to maintain sales of services to current customers. Number 2. Ali wants a list of companies who didn't buy anything last year. It's wrong because Ali wants a list of companies which bought the services last year. Number 3. Ali would like to visit every company on his list in a month. This statement is wrong because, as stated in the text, Ali plans to visit all the companies in the next 2 months. Number 4. Ali thinks he should visit some companies only once. And the correction is, Ali thinks he should revisit the companies which are undecided. Number 5. Sarah advises Ali to use the database. And the correction is, Sarah advises Ali not to use the database. Now let's do some more practice to see if you can locate specific information in the text. Again, you have the text, and I want you to read the conversation again and answer these questions. Number 1. Why should Ali keep sending information back? Number 2. Why should he divide up his area? I will give you 3 minutes to answer this question. Let's discuss your answers. So, why should Ali keep sending information back? As it was stated in the text, Ali keeps sending information back because if he doesn't keep the database up to date, he might lose track of who he has visited. Number 2, why should he divide up his area? And the answer is he divides up his area because that would help him to use his time more effectively, and he is more likely to meet his deadline. Let's move to phrasal verbs. What do we mean by phrasal verbs? Well, phrasal verbs mean expressions combining verbs and prepositions which creates a new meaning. And here we have examples of phrasal verbs. As we can see, catch is the verb and up is the preposition. And once we put them together, then the meaning changes. So catch up doesn't mean that you catch something that is up, but it creates a different meaning, a different definition. So let's do this exercise together. I want you to replace the words in the bold from sentences 1 to 6 with the correct form of the phrasal verb in the boxes. For this exercise, I will give you 5 minutes. Let's look at the model answer. Number 1, okay, I'm going to head off now. Bye. So head off means leave. Late deliveries from that new supplier have really held up this project. So held up means it was delayed or it arrived late. Number 3, the company plans to cut down its spending by 5% next year. So cut down here means cutting the cost down, which means reducing the cost by 5%. Number 4, sorry, I have to go. A problem has come up at the office. So when a problem comes up, it means it suddenly appears and it is unexpected. Number 5, they'll have to put the meeting off. And when we put the meeting off, it means it has to be postponed. It has to be done at a different time. Number 6, I'm working late today, catching up with my work. So when you catch up with work, then you're trying to keep up with the load of work that you have. Let's do more practice to understand the meaning of phrasal verbs even more. So here we have the phrasal verbs in the box. Read these statements, then fill in the gaps using the given phrasal verbs. You have 3 minutes to do that. Please check your answers. All right, so How is your time management? Well, if you want to find out, then let's do a short quiz together. So in here, you're going to write A, B, or C in the spaces by answering these questions. How often do you keep up to date with your work? For example, my answer would be sometimes. So I would put the letter B here, and I would do the same for each sentence. After that, I'm going to look at the scores for each letter and then count the total. I'll be doing that with you, so do it with me over the TV, and then we'll share our answers later. Are you curious about what those points mean? Well, I want you now to locate yourself. If you got 0 to 4 points, it means, oh dear, you need to improve your time management. If you got 5 to 8 points, it means, not too bad, but you can still manage your time better. If you got 9 to 12 points, then well done, you're doing a great job. And finally, if you got 13 to 16 points, it means superhuman. Are you sure you are telling the truth? So maybe you're lying. And as I said, I did the quiz and I got 10 points. So for me, it's well done. You are doing okay. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you so much for your attention and see you next time.